Godzillacus here, and welcome to the channel where Masterclass play is optional, but we try to share a little information to our new guys in our Smile and Die Empire, and anybody else who can find the information useful. Now, you may be wondering with the title of this video of the need for speed, and yet you're sitting here watching a Luva climb up a hill at a rapid pace. Well, it all came out of a kind of a discussion. It was on the forums, actually, talking about different equipment and speed and all that kind of thing. So I want to do some real world kind of applications and tests, not just the numbers that says it goes this fast and all those kind of things. What happens on the actual map. This first test is I ran with just improved controls without any other modifications for the most part, and ran it up the hill here on rock field. It's kind of a normal route where it may go. And if you kind of take a look up here at the timer, we'll kind of take a look and see when we reach the cap circle. That's just a good baseline for me to drive for, and see what the time's going to be. Is coming up. It looks like it's going to be just over 6 minutes. It's at 6:04 there when it got into the circle. So now what I want to do is kind of swap out some of the equipment, go from improved controls to the engine accelerator. That way we kind of get a little bit of a different run and a different test to see what happens out here on Rockfield in a real world test of what difference that really makes. I have cut out some of the footage here to save you guys the pain of watching Luva climb up this hill at such blinding speeds. But we're kind of going to do the same thing. It's kind of get that cap area. We'll notice what time we make it in there and see what the differential is. It looks like we're going to beat the first mark, and coming in at about 6:08 is where we entered that cap circle area. Now that's a difference of about 4 seconds on the equipment swap. And then 4 seconds is 4 seconds. It's not a blinding pace nor a huge difference, but it could make a difference depending on what goals you have going for you, whether it's a tournament play or if it's a public match. Now for the last run in this tank, what we're going to do is keep the engine accelerator, but we're going to use the engine boost just to see what that does for us. Kind of stacking things up and see what the total time we can take off of that initial time was. So as we roll it up here, as we'll get the last time for the heavy tank here, and it looks like we're going to come in at about 6:14 is where we're going to come into the cap circle. Gives us a 10-second total improvement, which honestly surprised me. I didn't think it would be that much. Of course, that's with everything stacked up, so you're making some sacrifices there. But maybe in a tournament match, 10 seconds getting that tank into that position could be crucial. Now, surely if a big heavy tank like that can get some improvement out of it, we ought to see something with some light tanks. So what we have here is the German Bulldog. It's still a rock field, kind of going on up to C, the other direction, but it's kind of where typically some of these tanks would go. And as you'll see, we'll slide on up into the cap circle and hit it about 6:42 for a baseline. That's going to be pretty consistent on a couple of runs that I did. Well, now I have swapped out the improved controls for the engine accelerator, see what kind of improvement we can get. Because my way of thinking, well, the light tanks, I should get a bigger bang for my buck, so to speak, with any improvements that I do. And as you'll see, we come sliding up in here at about the 6:43 mark. That's a 1 second improvement, not as much as I thought. So then I kept the engine accelerator on there and ran with the engine boost, the consumable, and run it again and see what we come up with. As you can see, we'll slide up and get into the circle at about 6:44, which is only a 2 second total improvement, which kind of, I just wasn't thinking that. I thought I'd get more out of it, actually. Very much surprised. Just to test it all out on a different tank, I kind of loaded that same scenario in the T-54 lightweight, where I went with improved controls and engine accelerator and then engine boost and ran the same scenario. Kind of got to the cap as a baseline at 6:43. And then now I'm going to run the same test again with the engine accelerator, changing equipment out to see what we're getting. And it's kind of coming up. It's going to be close. I mean, it's the second tank in a row that's at 6:43, 1 second improvement. Wow, that's almost identical to the German Bulldog. So and here it is with the engine boost consumable stacked on top of the accelerator. And running it again to see what we get. And I called it 6:45, kind of rounded up a little bit just to show some improvement. It's a 2-second improvement. So there you have it, guys. Some of the equipment and the consumables do make a difference, but maybe not in the way that you're thinking it will. It seemed to help the heavy tanks more than the light tanks. My theory there is that the light tanks get to their top speed quicker anyway, so the equipment doesn't help them out as much as it helps out, percentage-wise, that at least is, as the heavy tanks. It's at least some information to kind of look at, and maybe do your own experiments with your own tanks, your own situation, the way you set them up. That way you will know exactly what you have. And as always, I and the rest of my clanmates are part of the Smile and Die Empire. It's a collection of clans, mainly a lot of casual clans, beginning clans. And we do have a tournament clan. So if you're interested in any of those kind of activities, just give us a shout.